We recently lost an actor, Graham Greene, and but he'd been involved in making a lot of movies and that had a lot of impact on the culture of the Native American people and the things that we actually experienced. I think you remember the Dances with Wolf and the movie that Kevin Costner made. And then we have another one that he was involved with and participated in the production, of course, was Thunderheart.
You're wearing brand new shoes that are a little too tight in the instep, but man, they look cool, and that's what counts. Am I right?
The thing that came about with all of the things that Native people experienced in the setting of the making of the movie of Thunderheart revolves around the exploiting of the resources of Native people and the great dangers in that are involved.
Test drilling for uranium. Look at that. Seal it.
When uranium mining began, and there was many places that produced that. I remember in southern Utah particularly, when they found a lot of rich deposits of uranium that became available, but also on the Navajo reservation, many places there were sources of uranium and ore. And of course the people that were involved in those things, they took uranium and dug it right out of the ground and used local workers who were Navajo in many cases, if they were doing the mining on reservation or near the reservation, without protective clothing or without any protective means to themselves. They were fully exposed. And whole generations of Navajo grandfathers perished. Not one of them survived. And so much of it was lost in cultural ways and teachings and so on because of that. And then, of course, after they were mined and they had some processed a little bit before they were transported, a lot of the things that they used to process the ore was left on the reservation in many places, over 300. And so we had tailings that are radioactive for 2,000 years. They have a lifespan. And our people are still living near those tailing ponds and piles and so on their Indian Navajo reservation. And the EPA flexes its muscle doing all sorts of things, and they don't seem to do anything at all to make proper disposals of these they're very dangerous sites, and they are still there. I don't think that Native people really understand that those things actually occur and actually happen. In modern day, we have situations where people see resources that are available on Indian lands, from the timber to the oil, the gas, uranium, and even the people. There are so many things that our people are being affected by. What goes on off of the reservation in the greater part of the United States, people want to take advantage of the resources of our Native people. But our Native people are reluctant in many cases in that to allow the greater population to have any control over our Diné. But yet we are, because of the many rules, regulations, policies, and laws that are applied to only our people, 13,000 of them. Yet outside of the Navajo or Indian nations and that, we have probably 3,000 at the most rules, regulations that regulate the lives of non-Native people. But on the Indian reservations and that, as the movie in the Thunderheart, our people are very traditional in many cases still, believe in visions and the guidance of the holy people.
Go to Red Deer Table. Go to the land where the old people used to live.
But you must go as two. This is the vision I received.
And they want us to be aware of our past and the things that matter to our people in the past. They don't matter to us so much today. but to be able to be together as families and to try to gain as much joy and happiness and confidence and peace in our individual lives, but we sometimes are hindered by the things that are of interest to non-native people off of the Indian nations. And they will go to the extreme as far as eliminating the people that get in their way. That has occurred on Indian lands as well. We are not aware of this. We refuse to recognize that there are people that actually are going to harm us to get the things that they want. And they manipulate. Some of our people will believe them and go along with them and join them and actually work against our people. And many of the leaders and the tribal leaders and that are easily hoodwinked to think that it's acceptable for our people to be taken advantage of. Maybe sometimes they get something under the table or something from the side, and they are bribed to participate in some of these activities that are working against our population of people that just try to live their lives in a way that would be pleasing to the holy people rather than pleasing to the ways of government. And so we have had our occasion with our relationship with the people that want to govern. They want to control. And so the more control they have over us, the more control they have over our lands and the resources of our lands. Here we have some of our Navajo people relinquishing thousands and thousands of acres to the federal government. The federal government doesn't need any more land. We have seen various tribes get united and support the federal government in taking huge portions of land with millions of acres and just handing it to them. Look at the Caperwit Plateau, the Grand Staircase, the Escalante Staircase, and the Bears Ears, and so many other portions of land that it could easily be reobtained, and the native people could apply the use of those lands to help their people. And there are lands in that are over in New Mexico, portions of it in Arizona they call the checkerboard area. There's absolutely no reason why the Navajo tribe itself could not repurchase some of those lands and sections of land that are considered checkerboard. The conflict between the federal government and the Navajo Nation and other tribes and other nations of native people, and that still exists. And we are ruled by the federal government in a way that is very sly. Every time that they appropriate some money to Indian reservations, they say, you have to apply these rules, regulations, and policies to this funding that we're providing. After the funding has gone, those rules, regulations, and policies are still affecting the lives of our people. And so those are the things that we are not aware of. So we're overregulated excessively. Like I say, there are 13,000 or so rules, regulations, and policies that apply to Indian Nation that don't apply anywhere else in this country. And in the country itself, as I mentioned, there's only about 3,000 rules, regulations, and policies and that are applied to the average American citizens. If you actually look at the Navajo Reservation or any other reservation, Native people actually own nothing. They absolutely own nothing. If you, as a Native person, want to build a home, you have to obtain a land lease agreement, and it only lasts so many years. And it is that you're required in that to make lease payments on that. And that is ridiculous. But it is nonetheless something that we have to do by rules and regulations and policies imposed on our people. The Wounded Knee incident, where over 300 men, women, children were slaughtered by the military forces. And when they were being driven back to the reservation, when they had left the reservation and tried to go back to the lands where they had lived. And but because of their treaty and that, they were being forced to go back and rounded up and put back on the reservation. And that caused a dispute. But the thing that happened, that there were a number of Congressional Medal of Honor awards given to those people that participated in that slaughter.
Under my direction, we're making it clear without hesitation that the soldiers who fought in the Battle of Wounded Knee in 1890 will keep their medals. And we're making it clear that they deserve those medals. This decision is now final, and their place in our nation's history is no longer up for debate. We salute their memory, we honor their service, and we will never forget what they did.
There is no honor in what they did, absolutely none. And the Native people see this as very unfair, and it is not a good thing. And in those times there was absolute hatred, and people shouted slogans, the only good Indian is a dead Indian. But I do know that there were evil and things done on both sides, and they should never ever be rewarded or honored. And that's all we can say about it.
Hey, thanks for watching our videos. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss one of our uploads. Also, head over to our website, NavajoTraditionalTeachings.com. Sign up for our email list. Okay.